So we're gonna get started today laying on our backs. So you can make your way to your mat and you can let yourself start however is comfortable. So if you want the knees to stay bent, or if you want to extend the legs or hug them in toward the chest, just let it be comfortable for you. Whenever your body's calling for right now. Then as you arrive in a comfortable position on your back, just allow your eyes to gently close. And take a nice cleansing breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling to release it all through the mouth. Allow your forehead to relax. Allow the jaw to soften. And with each breath that you take, feel the back body expanding closer to your mat. And with each exhale that you take, feel the back body softening. And just start to check in with where the breath is flowing for you in this moment. Notice if it makes its way all the way into your belly, or if it stops more in the chest or the lungs. If it's helpful for you to place your hands on your body, you can do that too. Just encouraging yourself to breathe into the hand that's on your belly. Encouraging the breaths to be bigger, more expansive. Awakening the breath, filling up with positive, uplifting thoughts and energy. Exhaling and releasing anything you can let go of, anything you no longer need today. Feel and see the breath as a wave swelling up within the body, starting down at the belly and crashing down on your exhales. Feeling it rise in the belly, the lungs, the chest, the heart, all the way into your head. Feeling it releasing the way you came from the head, heart, lungs, and belly. Taking 3 more rounds of breath like this. And then after your last exhale, just allow your inhale to come naturally, the exhale to follow. And start taking some windshield wipers with the knees and slowly separate the feet as wide as your mat. And just start letting the body slowly move with your breath. If you would like to, you can activate your Ujjayi breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose with that slight restriction in the back of your throat. Slightly restricting the air on the exhales, storing more of this life force within the body. This can be your breath throughout the practice today. That feels good in your body. We're starting to feel the hips warming up, the lower back moving as quickly or as slowly as you'd like. And then when you're ready, you can guide your knees to come back to center once you feel even. And extend your left leg long on your mat and hug your right knee in towards your chest. And do your best to keep your left hip firm on the mat. You can place your hand there to encourage that. And start with some slow circles, going in one direction with your knee. Doesn't matter which way you move first, because we'll go in both directions. So you can hold on to that kneecap or even just hold on to the thigh. Just take some big or small circles, maybe varying sizes. Just paying attention to the ball and socket joint. So feeling that bone moving within your hip socket. You can linger in some areas if it feels like it needs more attention. Noticing any creaks. You can switch directions if you haven't already. And then once you feel even in both directions, you can guide the knee back to center and just start to pull the knee a little closer to your armpit, toward the floor beside your armpit. Just feel that hip opening up. You can flex the foot or point the foot, whatever feels best, but just keeping your opposite hip on the floor. Great. And then you can start to guide your knee back to center. And then just extend the sole of your foot toward the ceiling, straightening out the leg. You can hold on to any area on the leg that's available or feels good. And you can reach through the heel of the foot, or you can reach through the ball of the foot, doing this floint. It's kind of like a flex and a point. Or if you want to just completely flex or completely point, you can play around with both, maybe flexing and pointing the foot. And just finding that place that feels best today. And then you can start to guide your right leg out to the right a little bit, opening up that hip, getting a nice stretch on the inside of the leg. Just as far as comfortable. And then gently guiding it back to center. And then just ever so slightly across the center line of your body. So you just feel this stretch down the IT band. But try to keep the leg straight and the foot flexed so that you feel this down the outside of the leg. And keep both hips firm on the ground. So you don't want your right hip to come up at all. And then you can just keep moving back and forth like that. You can guide the leg with a strap or your hands, or just kind of move the leg on your own. Yeah, it's really nice if you have a strap. Just feeling the four corners of your torso stay firm on the mat as you do this. So the hips and the shoulders. Let's go one more time in either direction. Feeling the strength of your leg. Awesome. And then once your leg is back in the center, you can just extend it long on your mat, maybe slowly with control if you want some core work. And then just feel the difference in the lengths of your legs right now. And then when you're ready, you can hug in your opposite leg or your left leg in toward the chest, and we'll do that on the other side. So you can start with some of those knee circles, keeping the leg bent to start, just activating the hip. So really checking in with how your hips are doing and how your legs are doing before we get into any postures today. Being gentle, warming ourselves up. And staying with your breath as you do these movements. It's not super important which movements are on inhales or exhales. Just trust what your body naturally wants to do. And you can switch directions with your knee if you haven't already. And once you're feeling even, you can start to guide the knee back to center. And then just start to hug that closer to your armpit or to the floor to the left of your armpit. So opening up your hip to the left. Breathing in the inside of that left hip, checking in, noticing how this feels compared to the other side. And gently guiding the knee back to center, and you can extend the leg up toward the ceiling. And same thing that we did on the other side. So you can play around with pointing and flexing the foot, finding what feels best. And yeah, if you have that strap, you can wrap the strap around the foot. It could be around the arch of the foot or the ball of the foot or the heel. You can really just play around with where it's located. And then when you're ready, you can start doing what we done the other side. So kind of like big windshield wipers, big and slow, opening the hip up and then crossing the body, but really focusing on isolating the movement into your hip. So keep your core tight, keep your core pulling down toward the mat. Keep the shoulders and the hips square on the mat. And let the leg move only as far as your muscles and your joints are allowing. You can move a few more times in either direction. Stay with the breath. Relax the forehead and the jaw. One more time. Great. Bring that leg back to center as you're ready. And slowly, with the leg straight, if you want some core work, you can lower it down to meet your opposite leg into the Shavasana pose. Not Shavasana yet. Just notice the length of the legs, the openness of the hips. And then when you're ready, you can hug both knees in toward the chest. We're going to come into a reverse tabletop. So check in that your knees are right over the hips and the feet or the ankles are in line with the knees. So you're in all these 90-degree angles, just like if you were in tabletop. So you can imagine the floor above you. And then reach your arms up so that the wrists are in line with the shoulders. And you can even flex your fingertips back towards you so that if you can imagine that you were doing tabletop on the ceiling, you would be able to just kind of land right there. Perfect. So feel yourself activating here. Pull your spine to the mat so you can really feel the core engaged. You can keep the feet flexed, keep the hands flexed. Pull the shoulders back, broaden the shoulder blades, widen the collarbones. Perfect. Relax the face. Great. Then you can bring your hands down to a T shape so the palms can be on the ground and the hands in line with the shoulders firm by your sides. Yeah, perfect. And then we're going to start doing some core work. So keep your core super tight to the ground and just start to slowly let your knees come over to the right. And let them come to however far you can go with them still hovering. And then you'll slowly bring them back up to center when you think you reach that limit, and then go to the other side. We're just going to do that 3 times on either side. So you can move rather slowly, but the same thing what we were doing before with each individual leg, really channel that here as well. You're keeping the shoulders and the upper body mostly the same and strong. And the movement's coming from your low belly, from your lower core. You can inhale to center and exhale to the sides. Or if the opposite feels more natural to your body, then trust that. Let's do one more round on either side, and then we'll meet back in the middle when you're finished. Awesome. So coming back into the center, go ahead and bring your soles of your feet toward the ceiling and come into your happy baby. Just relax the hips, relax the shoulders. You can rock side to side or be in a still happy baby if that's better. Just feel softness in the face, soft in the belly. And then when you're ready, you can grab the backs of your thighs and just start to rock yourself along the length of your spine. And eventually rocking yourself up to your seat and forward into a tabletop. So you can spend time rocking or get there right away, whatever you'd like. But we'll meet in our right side up tabletop position when you're ready. So meeting with the Fingers spread super wide. The shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And when you look back, the toes should be hidden behind the thighs. Spreading the fingers super wide, feeling this nice grip against the floor. And the creases of the wrists are parallel to the front edges of your mat. You can start taking some cat-cows if you haven't already. Inhaling to your cow pose, exhaling to pull it all back to cat pose. I encourage you to close the eyes and really just move with your breath. So if you'd like to stick with your classic cat-cows to start, you can do that, and then gradually come into some more fluid movements. Maybe wagging the tail or rolling out the shoulders and the neck. When the eyes are closed, we can really tune into the body. So let's try to listen to what movements the body would like to do right now. Let yourself move with your breath for about 5 more rounds of breath. Any creaks out. Awesome. And then when you're feeling ready, you can come back to center, your center tabletop. And we'll just do some twisting in the upper spine in case you haven't done that already. So you can put a nice bend in your left elbow and look over your right shoulder. Maybe the left elbow touches the floor. And then you can inhale, coming back up to center, straightening both arms, and then bend your right elbow, looking over the left shoulder. You can do that a few times, back and forth. You can stay longer in the twist if that feels really good, or do 1 breath per movement. Let's do once more on either side. Then meeting back in the center when you're done. You can leave the hips right over the knees. When you're ready, walk the hands forward and come into your puppy pose. No rush at all. Meeting with the chin or forehead on the mat or a block. The hips are staying right over the knees. And let the energy reach through the space in between the sit bones. So feeling the very center of the tailbone lifting a little bit higher. Feeling as if an arch was forming in the lower back. Every exhale, your heart center melts a little bit closer to the mat. And every exhale, the shoulder blades pull a little bit closer together. 1 more breath. And then you can start to pull the navel up to the spine. Walk the hands back into your tabletop position. You can shake out anything if you need to. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale into our cow pose. And exhale, sit the hips back into your child's pose. Inhale, draw yourself back up into your cow pose. Dropping the belly, lifting the gaze. And exhale, sit the hips back, release into child's pose. You can flow like this with 5 more of your breaths. Inhaling into cow, exhaling back into child. Let this be a dance with your own breath, so you don't have to feel like you have to go at any certain pace. Just let your inhales and exhales cue you on your own. Really paying attention to every little component of every little movement. When you're ready, we'll meet back in our child's pose after your last round. I'm going to spend about 3 breaths here, letting the hips relax, letting the belly relax, letting the whole torso surrender just for another moment. And then as you inhale, you can pull yourself back up to your cow pose. And this time, tuck the toes under. And as you exhale, you'll lift the sit bones back and up to your down dog. We're going to flow a few times from cow pose to down dog. So on your next inhale, you can slowly come forward or shift the shoulders over the wrists and hover the knees over the mat for a moment and then gently let them get to the ground. Drop the belly, lift the gaze into cow pose, and then exhale, lift the sit bones back and up into down dog. So we'll move 5 times like that. Again, you can move with your own breath. This can be slow, this can be fast, but I always encourage you to move a little bit slower than you might want to. Just challenge you a little bit more. Really pay attention to where the movement's coming from and see if you can let the movement originate from the core and from your sit bones and your glutes. So when you rise back up to your down dog, you can imagine a string at your tailbone lifting you back and up. I kind of lost track, so you can do one more round of this. And then we'll meet back in a downward facing dog. And we'll hold this one this time so you can pedal out the feet. You can find some stillness right away if your body's calling for that. Just checking in with your alignment, spreading the fingers even wider than they're spread right now, spreading the toes, maybe even lifting the toes for a moment and really feeling the feet activate into the mat. Same thing as in puppy pose, lifting the energy through the space in between the sit bones. Letting that space just lift a little bit higher. Broadening the shoulder blades, and you can easily do this just by bending the elbows out to the sides, kind of like a push-up position, and then wrapping the shoulders in, so pulling as if you're hugging a beach ball in between the biceps, and then straightening the arms out from there. So that can really give you some more width in the shoulder blades. Bringing them to a neutral position. Relaxing the jaw, the forehead. 2 more breaths here. See how long you can get your spine. And now from here, we'll do one more little flow with our core. So as you inhale, you can come onto your tippy toes and float yourself forward into a plank position, landing with the shoulders over wrists, adjusting your stance as you need to. And then exhaling to lift the sit bones back and up, down dog. So we'll do that 5 times again too. Moving with your breath. You can wave the body through and move a little bit more rigidly if that feels better, but just trying out all the different ways and movements. Feeling how strong you are, keeping everything super strong as we do this, especially the core. We can let the movement originate from the hips again. It can be really helpful. After your last round, we can meet in our downward dog for another 2 breaths. Letting out big sighs, maybe fluttering the lips. And then slowly you can look forward to the top of your mat and just start to tiptoe your feet up to meet your hands. No rush at all in making it there. Really feeling the mat beneath the feet as you take each step. When you arrive, inhale to lengthen the spine, halfway lift. And then exhale to your forward fold. Bending the knees quite generously, just letting the belly rest on the thighs. Letting out big exhales. Letting the head shake yes and no. Relax the jaw, the forehead, eyebrows. And start to lift the sit bones a little bit higher. And shift the weight forward and back so you can feel the difference when the weight's more on the heel of the foot versus the ball of the foot, the insides and the outsides of the foot. And then find that place where the weight is pretty evenly distributed between the four corners of the feet. And then shift the weight slightly forward toward the balls of the feet. So most of your momentum is going forward in your forward fold. Take 2 more exhales here. See how heavy you can get your torso. And then gently, as you feel ready, you can start to roll your body up to stand 1 vertebrae at a time. Letting the head and shoulders be last to rise up. You can roll the shoulders back at the top and bring the palms to face out in your mountain pose. Just letting the blood settle in, feeling yourself strong here. Each inhale, the crown of the head lifts, and each exhale, the soles of the feet root down. On your next inhale, sweep both arms up and over the head. Get nice and long in the side bodies. Then exhale, hinge at your hips and lead with the heart into your forward fold. Inhale, long spine, halfway lift. Exhale and release, forward fold. Let the hands down and inhale, step back to your plank. If you know your vinyasa flow, you can move through yours. Or if you'd like to move through one together, we can do that. And lower to your belly. Inhale to baby cobra. Exhale, release. And then pushing the floor away, coming up through a table. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Another 2 breaths here. And then when you're ready, bend the knees, look up toward the top of your mat and step up. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reach all the way out and up. And exhale, swan dive all the way back down. Inhale, halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Let the hands step back, move through your vinyasa, and we'll meet in a downward facing dog. Once you arrive in your down dog, you can inhale, reach your right leg back and up. And then exhale to point the toes, stack the hips, and bend the knee. Feeling those hips open up to your right. Maybe not getting them there completely. Just feeling that nice stretch down the inside of the left leg. Squaring off the shoulders to the mat. Another breath here. And then as you inhale, reach your leg long as you level out the hips toward the floor. Shift your shoulders over wrists as you bend the knee into the chest and step the foot to the top of your mat. You can pivot your back heel to warrior 2 legs and rise up, warrior 2. Your back foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. Front heel is either intersecting the back arch or in line with the back heel, and the heart is proud as the arms reaching from the heart center. Gaze is over the front fingertips, the eyes closed maybe. Feel the tailbone really tucked straight down as the crown of the head reaches straight up. Perfect. You can lift the toes here, really feel the 4 corners of the feet rooting into the mat. And then on your next exhale, we can cartwheel the hands down, bringing them both to the inside of your right foot. And lift the back heel, heel toe your right foot toward the right edge of the mat, coming into a tall lizard pose so you can keep the back leg lifted. And maybe the hips are up really high, but just doing your best to sink the weight a little bit more forward and down. Perfect. Option to bring the back knee down if you'd like to, or keeping it lifted And then bring your right hand to the right knee. So we're starting to twist toward the right. And then, actually, yeah, let's drop the back knee down. And then start to push into the right thigh and look over the right shoulder. Awesome. And you can always turn onto the outside edge of the right foot too, if that feels like it'd be good for you. Take another breath here in this twisted lizard. Maybe you reach that arm up toward the ceiling, opening the heart up more toward the ceiling. Perfect. And then you can reach the fingertips forward toward the front of your mat, just getting really long on the side of the body. Awesome. And then bring that down to meet your left hand. Tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, and step back to a plank. Move through your vinyasa, and we'll meet in a down dog. Taking big exhales when you arrive. When you're ready, we'll do that on the other side. On your next inhale, raise the left leg back and up. And then exhale to point the toes, stack the hips, and bend the knee. Opening up those hips to your left. Squaring off the shoulders toward the mat. Another breath here. And as you inhale, you can level out the hips, reach the leg long back behind you. And then bend the knee in toward the chest as you strip the shoulders over wrists. Place the foot at the top of your mat. Back heel pivots, warrior two legs, and then you can rise up. Warrior two on the other side. Just checking in with your alignment once again. Maybe lifting the toes for a moment. And you can imagine a string from your tailbone through the crown of the head, pulling you straight down and straight up. Feeling the bottom of the ribs separate from the hips a little bit more. Shoulders are relaxed, jaw is relaxed, forehead's relaxed. One more breath. And then next exhale, you can cartwheel the hands down inside of your left foot and lift the right heel off the mat as you heel toe the left foot toward the left edge of the mat. Coming back into that lizard on the other side. So you can stay lifted for a moment here or allow the back knee to drop whenever you did so on the other side. And then bringing the left hand to the left knee, starting to open up and twist toward the left. So every inhale, feel the crown of your head reaching forward a little bit so you can feel the spine get long. And every exhale, let your heart curl open toward the ceiling a little more. Be extending that arm. Really deep breaths and relaxing anything that's not necessary. So noticing if the face is tense. And then you can start to reach your left fingertips forward, getting a little longer. Awesome. And then left hand meets the right. You can tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and step back to a plank. Move through a vinyasa, and we'll meet in a down dog. You can bend the knees, look up toward the top of your mat, and step up to a halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reach all the way up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. So we'll move through another round, quite similar to what we just did on either side before we come into the yin portion. As you feel ready, just check back in. Feel the rhythm of your heart. Feel the breath. Feel how strong you are. And then inhale, reach both arms up toward the ceiling. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, tabletop spine. Exhale and forward fold. Plant the hands, step back to plank. Move through a vinyasa if you would like to, and then we'll meet in a down dog. As you're ready, you can step your right foot forward to the top of your mat and pivot your back heel to warrior two legs. And then we'll rise up as you inhale, warrior two. We'll take one full breath here. Inhale. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down inside of the right foot. Lift the back heel, come back into that lizard pose. You can heel toe that foot to the side. And then allow the back knee to drop. And bring your right hand back to the knee, taking that twist. And then if you have a block or something to give you a little height, it can be helpful under your left hand here. And you don't have to try this if it seems impossible, but we can try it out. So you can keep your right hand on the thigh. And then with the toes tucked, start to lift your heel, bringing the heel closer toward your right hand. So the hand we were twisting with is opening up to try to grab hold of that back heel. And maybe it just lifts off the mat and your hand reaches back. Oh, you might get a Charlie horse there. That is the worst. That happens to me a lot. So maybe you're just the toes hover off the mat and the arm just reaches back, and that's the start of it. Awesome. Then you can release that as you're ready. Bring both hands back down inside of the foot. And then lift the back heel. Pivot your back foot back to your warrior two legs. And to start to walk your hands to your left, turning your right foot parallel to the back foot. And we'll come into our wide leg forward fold from here. We'll take a few breaths here. You can bring the forearms to the mat or the hands or whatever's available. The same thing that we did in our forward fold, shifting the weight a little bit more toward the balls of the feet, lifting the sit bones a little bit higher. Awesome. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly walk the hands toward your back foot, toward the back of the mat, and pivot those toes to face the back of your mat. And then we'll rise up to warrior two on the other side, just facing the back of your mat. Perfect. Just checking in second time around on this side. Inhaling here. And then exhale, you can cartwheel the hands down inside of the left foot. Lift your right heel and come into that lizard pose, facing the back of your mat. Awesome. So you can allow that knee to drop whenever and come into that twisted version of the lizard whenever. Maybe you just wait here a moment with the hand on the thigh. Maybe you just start to reach the fingertips back. And maybe you just stay here. This is the first stage. And you can slowly start to lift that foot off the ground. I'm not forcing anything too much because you definitely can cramp up here. Just knowing what you're reaching toward. That's awesome. Great. And then you can gently release the foot if you had hold of it. Allow those toes to find the mat. Bring the hand back to center. So lift the back knee and pivot the foot back to your warrior two legs. And then we'll start to walk the hands back the way we came, coming back into the wide leg forward fold. Awesome. Let's see if you can surrender a little bit deeper second time around. And soften the back of the knees. Lift your seat a tiny bit higher. Relax the neck a little bit more. Feel all the muscles in the face softening. One more full exhale. And then from here, we'll really slowly start to walk the hands up the legs. Bring yourself slowly up to stand. Letting everything stack on top of one another, pausing at the top. You can place a hand on the belly, a hand on the heart. Just let the blood settle back in, let your vision return if it's left. And then right from where you are, you can start to turn your heels to point toward each other and your toes to face out. And we're going to come into our yogi squat or malasana squat so they can be just a little bit wider than the hips. You're going to bring your hands to heart center. Hinge at the hips as you bend your knees. And yeah, we can place a block in between the heels, slightly behind if you're going to need that. And then sink the hips down as you lift the heart up, coming into your yogi squat. And you can adjust everything as you need to, as you see fit. We won't be here too long, just a little transition pose. So the hands come level with the heart, the elbows come level with the wrists. Hands are pushing into each other, and that pushes the hips a little bit more open. Heart lifts into thumbs, and the thumbs push back into the heart. Broaden the collarbones. Breathing here. So good. And then super slow, you can start to point your fingertips forward and gently lower your seat to the mat. And then you can shake out the legs for a moment if you'd like. You're going to come in to the yin portion. So if you have any props around you or any big pillows or blankets that you'd like to use, you can grab those. Just doing a few yin postures today. So when you're ready, you can bring the soles of your feet together. And we'll come into our butterfly pose to start. And I prefer to do a longer legged butterfly, so the feet are a bit further away from my hips. That just gets into your hamstrings as well as your hip abductors. But you can do whatever feels better. If you want to focus more on the abductors, you can bring them closer. Totally yogi's choice. So you can maybe grab the flesh of the sit bones and just give that a little tug back so you can feel the bones rooting down. And then as you're ready, you can fold forward into your butterfly, surrendering the head, surrendering the torso, letting it just kind of hang out there if that's what feels good immediately, or letting it rest on blocks or blankets. You can notice right away if anything is tense or maybe feels a bit more difficult to be still in this moment. And it's okay, especially for the first posture and you can practice. You can allow yourself to fidget as much as you need to in order to find a place where you can be still. Just allow everything to be soft. Let the jaw hang completely heavy. Let the forehead and the eyebrows be totally soft. Notice any places where tension might be stored, where it's unnecessary in this moment. See if you can soften those areas just with your awareness of them. So not worrying if you find that your shoulders are still tense or maybe your ankles or your hands. Just seeing if your act of noticing that they are tense can be enough to add softness. A lot of things in our bodies just kind of go unchecked most of the time. Sometimes all we have to do is check in, and that area of our body feels seen, and it can relax, can be soft. Take about 5 more full exhales here. And then very slowly, you can start to just walk the hands back toward your seat. Keep your legs where they are for now. We're not coming completely out of this just yet. Straightening out the spine. And then you might want to bring a block alongside your left hip. Or you might be okay with just having the floor here. We're just going to add a side body variation into this butterfly pose. So you can rest the hand above the head like this, but your arm might fall asleep after. We'll be here about 1.5 minutes, or you can wrap the hand behind your back like this. You're just getting into the side body, so feeling that space from your right hip bone through the side body. And make sure both sit bones stay firm on the mat. You should be able to be somewhat relaxed in the left side of your body. That should be soft, and just feeling this expansion across the right side of the body. Take about 5 more full exhales here. You noticing you can fall a little bit closer toward the mat. And then we'll really slowly start to push into your left hand. Bring yourself back up to center. Notice the difference in the sides of the body. And then we will even out. So you can bring a block on that side if you like to start. And maybe you start with the block, and then by the end of the 1.5 minutes, you can find you don't need it anymore. We're just starting to curl off to the right, feeling a nice stretch from the left hip through the left side body. Yeah, the arm can be reaching up if that feels good. Maybe holding onto the back of the head can feel really nice. Or the hand behind the back, whatever is best. Notice where you're feeling this the most. Check in that your shoulders are over the hips. That's good. Maybe you're feeling this mostly in the organs. I find that this helps with my digestion quite a bit. Or maybe it's more in the lower back muscles. Maybe more in the hips. Wherever it is perfect. Take about 5 more breaths here. And then we'll very slowly start to push into the right hand and gently guide your torso back into center. And Remove the blocks if they're in the way. And then very slowly grab the outsides of the knees and slowly bring them in together, coming out of this as gently as we were in the pose. You can give yourself a nice big hug if you'd like. Just tucking the chin toward the chest, getting the body into a perfect circle. And then as you are ready, you can slowly begin to lower yourself down to lay on your backs. Grab the knees and hug them into your chest when you arrive, if that feels good. Letting yourself settle back into the back body. And then when you're ready, you can bring the soles of the feet to the mat and just shift your hips toward the right side of your mat as you let both of your knees fall to the left. It's coming into a reclined supine twist to finish our practice. You can cross the legs over each other or let them stay stacked. Maybe turning to look over your right shoulder. If you want to continue this twist up the neck as well. You're not forcing yourself into this pose or any pose in yin, just allowing yourself to be wherever you naturally land. And just find your breath, find some peace of mind where that is. And let your belly soften even more. Let the shoulders relax. Let the hips relax. Let the jaw hang heavy. And let the forehead expand. Just feel your body completely surrender into this pose. Just trusting that there's nothing else you should be doing. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Taking about 5 more breaths here. And when you're feeling ready, you can really slowly guide your head back to center first. Guide the knees back to center. And then guide the hips back to center. Feeling the difference in the body for just a moment. And then when you're ready, we can switch sides. We can shift the hips toward the left and let both knees fall toward the right. And as always, you can use as many props as necessary or as you would like to. Maybe turning your gaze to look over the left shoulder, twisting up the neck as well. right away on this side. Just let everything be just as soft as it was on the other side. Let the belly completely relax. Let both shoulders completely soften, and both hips. Let all the muscles in the face and the hands be soft. Feel the full weight of gravity over your body. Feeling the breath move softly in and out. Letting yourself let go of one more thing with every exhale. And taking about 5 more really full and deep exhales here. And then very gently, as you feel ready, you can guide the head back to center, followed by the knees, followed by the hips. Maybe to reset, you'd like to do a few windshield wipers, or maybe feels better to hug the knees in toward the chest, or maybe it feels best to come into your Shavasana. We're gonna just cool down, make our way into our final resting pose. If you'd like, you can reach both of your feet up toward the ceiling, both hands up to the ceiling. And just allow all the blood to rush into the torso. And release every muscle in the legs and every muscle in the arms. And just allow them to rest in their sockets. Feeling the legs rest in the hip sockets, the arms rest in the shoulder sockets. Letting the blood run away from the hands and feet. Feeling all the healing energy of this practice soaking into your torso, into every organ, resting on the back body. Feeling any negativity and toxins exiting the body through the soles of your feet or the palms of your hands. And feeling that warm, tingly sensation of this shift in energy. And then as you feel ready, you can slowly lower yourself into your final Shavasana, your final resting pose. Allowing the full weight of your body to be supported by the mat beneath you. Releasing the need to hold anything up. Feeling completely relaxed. And all the muscles in your face, in your head, in your chest, your neck, shoulders, and arms. Your hands are soft. The ribs and the belly are both soft. Let the pelvic floor and the glutes relax. All the muscles of your legs, your feet, and your toes. Feel the pulse running through your entire body, tuning into the space between the eyebrows and the very crown of your head. And resting in this total body awareness. If you would like to stay here longer, please feel free to do so. But if you're feeling ready to come out of this final pose, just allow my cues to guide you. You can start by noticing just how slow your breath has become. It's almost non-existent. And then start to consciously deepen the breath, calling air back into the body, filling up every corner of your body. And start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe rock the head from side to side. Good. Reach the arms overhead and take a nice morning stretch. Getting the body nice and long. And then bring the knees in toward the chest as you're ready. And make your way into a fetal position on one side. Pausing for a moment just to honor this primal pose, the first pose all of us took in our lives. And then when you're ready, you can gently push your top hand into the ground and find your way back to your seat. We'll meet with hands at heart center, eyes closed with the gaze inward, taking this moment to fully and deeply thank yourself for your practice today. And may this practice continue to heal you throughout the rest of your evening and into a wonderful night's sleep. May you bring some of this love and light to everything that you do and to everyone that you see. Namaste.
Namaste.